Okay, this is part 3 of steering rack. Remove and replace. Let's see, I'll give you an update here. And show you around a little bit. I got the steering knuckles back on and rack installed, cradles installed, engine support beam is removed. We got the alternator back in. That was a little bit of a challenge. What I ended up having to do here is remove the wheel liner. There was a few annoying things about that. 3 or 4 different clips. Some of them were not easily removable and broke, so I'm going to have to find replacements for that. And then the alternator was a little bit challenging at first, but once I got that panel removed, I had my son help me get one of the bolts started, and I held it up there from above, from this exact position, and it's just a matter of getting that sucker in place. He said, "Hey, it's in," and then he got it started. And once one of the bolts is started, the rest go pretty easy. And actually, you can get to those nuts really easy from the wheel well with a cordless impact. So that was kind of nice. All the screws went back in a lot easier. Got that all installed. Got the wiring in place. Things I replaced while I was at it. I put in a new engine strap since there was some. This was kind of an electrical. And what else? Yeah, I mentioned some of the nuts in the previous video. And one of the things I wish I probably would have done was ordered the motor mounts. I ended up reusing, and I hope I don't regret that. But they wanted full retail price and at the dealership, and then they had to order them as well. And I'm trying to get this thing back on going, so had I ordered those online and got the internet price and put brand new ones in, that would have been, I think, the way to go. Same with the alternator, but the alternator is probably not as time consuming. Of course, the other replacement motor mounts, it may be possible to do that without actually dropping the cradle. But so dropping the cradle involves removing the alternator and all that other stuff. So if I have to put a new alternator in down the road in the near future, I guess it's not as big of a deal. But so get all your parts ordered, all your lock nuts and stuff ahead of time. You need your throttle body gasket. That was pretty easy to find. So we got the knuckle back in. Let me show how I got this thing in there. And what I did was that I sat the cradle on the ground and I lifted it up by the lower control arm, and I got that started. Let's see if I can maybe even get a picture of it. Yeah, those bolts right there. So I slapped those bolts in. I did them one side at a time. I lifted up the cradle by hand. And then once you get it up there pretty close, then that's when I got a jack underneath of the cradle and lifted it a little bit further. And I think I can show you a little trick that I used on that. I used this board right here, drilled a little hole in it, and that accepted the, I guess you call it a post on my jack, but I'll show you that while I'm at it, because this thing is awesome. Bought this online, and let me tell you, that thing's a godsend. It's battery powered, okay? And it's a no-name brand, but it works great. Proprietary battery, that's the only thing I would have loved to buy this in a DeWalt. And so that I could use all my batteries, because the batteries don't last all that long, but it's enough to do some work on it, and then later on charge it back up and stuff. And this is awesome because there's also a remote with it. It'll lift the whole vehicle up. This thing, when I had my had a truck. It was first bought this when I still had the truck, and a big full-size truck, and this thing would lift it up no problem. And it's awesome because it actually even stays there even when you shut it off. I'm not sure how the internals work. There's probably some gears in there or whatever. Of course, you still want to use, your jack stands and stuff for safety and whatnot. But yeah, it's I think it's pretty cool. I'm actually thinking about getting a second one so I can raise one end of the vehicle, both sides at the same time. That would be awesome. And because I have to do them kind of one at a time and whatnot. But yeah, it's coming together. It's not a whole lot. I got to wait on the ATF, transmission fluid, and I forgot to get that. And one of the things I found is that, while you're underneath there, you might as well, if you haven't recently, change your fluid. And one of the things I found, let's see, I'll show you the old, there's the old pan. And one of the things I found is in the service manual is it said you can reuse the pan as long as it's not contaminated. Now, of course, it probably be better to go ahead and replace it because the filter is integrated. But I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that probably never even change their fluids. So it's kind of like that idea, really, because if I had done it all over again, I probably would have just kept the pan in there. And the new pans do not come with a drain plug, which is kind of stupid. I've been trying to figure out why that is. And, of course, got grease on me. Of course, we all know why. They're trying to make it a pain in the ass to service your vehicle. And so that you just, trash it and go buy a new one. But yeah, probably just drain the fluid and fill it back up, and maybe even do that a couple times, and keep the pan and filter. That way you don't have to worry about torquing it and leaks all down the road if it's not leaking. Maybe just leave it in there. It's a tough choice. I guess either way you'd probably be fine. Yeah, so, yeah, it's kind of a bummer. This is a weekend. I wish I would have grabbed the ATF. I could have filled it back up, and this thing's almost ready to go. Slapped the tires back in, put the belly pans back on, and that's about all I have left to do. So, still messing around with the lock actuator. They might have sent me a bad part. I'm not really sure what's going on, but it's not lining up perfect there. And so I guess there's going to be a part 3 once I get everything completely going on or everything completely back together. I'll tell you how it all turned out. All right, thanks for watching. Take care.